Hello everyone. This video is part of a series where we are implementing a microservices-based social media application, and we are using Node.js for our backend services and React for our front end. Our main goal here is to learn the microservices pattern, as well as some of the challenges that come with it and possible solutions for these challenges. Here is a brief overview of the current tasks we are working on, as well as a plan for the very near future. Of course, there is much more to this, but here is at least an overview so that you can be informed about what we will be working on next. In the second screen, I have a more detailed breakdown of each of the tasks that are involved in the current implementation, and also what we are going to do next. So if you want to have a more detailed overview, you can pause the video here and check this diagram. We also have a Jira board, which we use to track our tasks in a Kanban style. And at the moment, we are working on the verification email. Before we move forward with implementation, I would like to go back a little bit to the board here and spend some time just to make a small adjustment. So I noticed that the task to verify the sign-up information was not selected for development. And as we have progressed with implementing the verification email functionality, I have thought that it makes sense to implement it now because it's an integral part of the development. Or to say it more precisely, an integral part of the sign-up process. If the user can sign up but cannot verify his or her email, then the sign-up process cannot be completed. So I would ask, or I would consider adjusting this selected for development by adding the user story related to verifying the sign-up information. Now, in a real-world project, ideally, once you agree on the scope of a sprint, you would not change it until the end of the sprint. And if you think that there are new tasks, you would add them to the backlog. At the end of the sprint, you would replan, or you would do the planning for the next sprint, and then you would pick the tasks from the backlog which have the highest priority. But in our case here, because we are working and we are still at the very beginning, then it's okay to make these small adjustments. Also in real world projects, it's okay to do some adjustments once in a while, as long as this is not something that you do often, right? So this should be an exception to the rule. So I'll just take this user story and bring it from the backlog to selected for development. Before we move forward, what I would also like to do is to give you a brief overview, or refresh this in our memories of all the steps involved in the sign-up process. So we have 5 actors. We have the React front end. We then have the authentication service, which would actually involve all these 3 actors here. We have the database within the authentication service, which contains for the moment just the user collection. But we also want to add another collection, the account verification collection, so that we can save the information of the verification tokens from a user. And externally, we have an SMTP server that is then used to send the emails to the user, right? So at the moment, the authentication service is sending the emails by itself, but in the future, as you can see in our previous diagram, so this diagram here, we will implement a notification service. And this notification service is going to be listening for events that should trigger an email, and it will be solely and uniquely responsible for sending emails to the user. So for example, if the authentication service is not responsible for sending emails anymore, and let's say that our remote SMTP server is down, so for some reason we are not able to send emails, then the authentication service is still able to fully work and give a response to the user. And because it emitted an event that a user has signed up, then the notification service is going to take care of sending that email. if the SMTP server is down, the notification service will have its own logic to retry to send emails or to keep querying or keep pinging. Let's say that would be the best term. It will keep sending very small requests to the SMTP server to identify once it's back online, and then once it's back online, the notification service itself is going to take care of sending all the pending emails. So the notification service, that's what I said, right? I'm getting a little bit confused because the names are very similar. So the authentication service has nothing to do with sending emails, but this we will implement once we have a fully working microservices infrastructure. Of course, it's going to be a basic infrastructure in the beginning, but we will extend it as necessary. So let's have a look at the flow of information for this process. So we will start with the user sending a sign-up request, right? The sign-up request comes from the React front end, or maybe from Postman or some third-party API if we want to do so. In the future, we'll probably implement something like this, but for the moment, we will work directly with the React front end. We send the sign-up request to the authentication service, and the authentication service in turn is going to create a user in the database, right? So this is going to create a user, and then we will receive back from our user collection the created user. Once we have back the created user in our authentication service, we can then move to create the verification token. Now this verification token is going to be created within the account verification collection, and this verification token is then going to be returned by the account verification collection. With this verification token in hand, now our authentication service can actually reach out to the SMTP server, and in the future this is going to be the authentication service will just emit an event and say user signed up, and then the responsibility is going to go to the notifications service. But for the moment, the authentication service is going to reach out to the SMTP server by triggering an action to send the verification email. And once we have the confirmation or the response from the SMTP server, whether the email was sent or not, we can go back and send a response to our React front end. So these are all the steps. Let me see if I can fit all of them on the screen. I think like so, yes. So these are all the steps involved in our sign-up process. We have already taken care of the top processes and the bottom processes, but what's missing is this account verification collection and the process of creating the verification token. So in the next video, we will come back to this and we will start implementing this logic in our authentication service. If you're interested in getting notifications every time I upload new videos, because this is an ongoing series and there are lots of videos yet to come, then make sure to subscribe to the channel, and every time I put something new on YouTube, you will get a notification. And I'm also working on other playlists or other series that you can check every time I upload a new video. Then thank you for your time, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.